Greetings, opera lovers. Live from Pittsburgh, it's Rona. I have so awaited this summer season to be able to catch some of the live streamed operas from Europe. And today I was able to catch the very first one. It was a complete live stream, meaning I got audio and video. So what was it? It was that famous opera, William Tell by Rossini, an opera I have never seen. Everybody knows what we think is the overture, because if you're my age, you know it as the opening of The Lone Ranger. However, it was not the overture to today's opera. It was played in between the first and second part. The first part was a combination of some number of acts. It was over 2 hours long. And then there was a long intermission, and then came the overture to William Tell. I was mainly interested in seeing this. First of all, I'm always interested in seeing operas live from Europe. Even if I don't know or like the opera, at least I want to give it a chance. But I have heard clips of Brian Hymel singing the very famous aria, whose name is too complicated for me to pronounce. I've heard him sing this on YouTube. He sang it live at a concert, I believe, in Philadelphia. And it just seemed to me like a perfect marriage of a voice and a character. And that is, his voice is so suited for these high-flying tenor roles that require so much really energetic and focused singing, the kind that he has. And so I began watching the opera, and I immediately disliked the production. I always wait for that great moment when I turn around and then I like the production, but that didn't happen today. The main element of the production were a series of pipes that came down from the top of the stage, and they would kind of go up and down and up and down. And sometimes there was just one long pipe that came down, and sometimes they sort of were on their side. In a way, it reminded me of the Net's planks that were so infamously hated in Wagner's Ring a few seasons back. Other than that, the production in general I didn't really care for. The costumes, scenery, and makeup, just not for me. As the main character in William Tell, who's Arnold, he's the tenor. The tenor is always the main character, even if it's called William Tell. He gets to wear this kind of scar over his face, which reminded me a lot of the Phantom of the Opera, the mask. In fact, I saw his profile picture on Facebook with this, and I was wondering, what could it be? And that's what it is. It's how he looks in William Tell with these scars. Playing William Tell was a German baritone who made a very good debut this year at the Met. His name is, you'll have to excuse me, Michael Vola, or however you pronounce his name. In the beginning, his voice sounded a little bit wobbly, but you know, these are electronic transmissions, and they're not always such a good rendition of what the voice actually sounds like in the house or anywhere. He has a lot to do in the opera, but it's really the tenor's opera as far as I'm concerned. And in every aspect, Brian Hymel was just fantastic. He looked great. He's a very good stage actor for opera, and he has a lot of chemistry with the others around him. He seems to be very invested in what he does. Really shows. Singing his love interest, whose name is Matilda, is a soprano I've heard before, Marina Rebeka. I heard her in Don Giovanni several seasons back, and although I thought she was just fine, I didn't know what all the fuss was about, as she came highly heralded to that production. Well, today I thought she sang just beautifully. It was really first-class singing. The surprise for me in the opera was another Russian singer, a name I have never seen before, and her name is Evgenia Sotnikova. She played that famous character, Jemmy, whoever that is. She has a beautiful voice. She soared above the orchestra and chorus, as is called for by her character. And I know I wasn't alone, because she got very large applause at the end of the opera. There are two comments I'd like to make about applause in this particular production of the opera. During the opera, it was like the audience was asleep. There was hardly any applause at all, except when Mr. Hymel sang his big aria in what was the second act as they presented it today. Other than that, at the end of Act 1, you could barely tell it was the end of anything. There was hardly any noise from the audience. At the end of the opera, the cast members came out, took their bows, and there was appropriate applause for the singers. That's when I could tell that it wasn't just me, but everybody who liked the little Russian soprano. And, of course, Mr. Hymel and Miss Rebeka got very large rounds of applause, as did Mr. Vola. When the production team came out, it was just roundly booed. And I have to say, I agree with the fact that people didn't like it. I don't know that I would have booed. I kind of think booing is rude, but it does express your opinions. And so I wasn't alone. The production just did nothing for me. Apparently, although this opera was quite long, a lot was cut, such as a ballet and other musical numbers, which I don't really know. Some of the music was familiar to me because many singers use some of these arias as audition pieces or specialty pieces in recitals. The conductor was someone named Dan Ettinger, I believe, and I felt that the conducting it just wasn't exciting enough. It didn't make the opera seem like it was on all cylinders moving forward, and I think this opera needed that. So I was very happy to see it, even though I didn't really particularly care for the production. There was so much good singing. And I was able to watch it on my new electronic device, my smart TV, and I got a really good sound system. I know these things are kind of expensive, but for those of you who have the option of acquiring this and you love opera, I highly recommend this because it's like you're there. I mean, it's just big on your screen and the sound is great. Usually when I listen to these operas that are live streamed, I put on headphones because the speakers on all my computers are not so great. I mean, the ones on my big computer are okay, but forget the laptops or the small devices. Okay, looking forward to trying to get to the theater to see Manolesco, starring my heartthrob Jonas Kaufmann and Christine Opalais. Last night, I was able to catch the encore production from the net of La Boheme. So you see, it's a great summer for opera. I'm very happy. I'm happy anyway. Hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye.